Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back. So in this episode, we're going to talk about the skills that accountants can use that appreciate, not depreciate. When we talk about skill set and things that you can invest in. Now, going back, being a CPA, getting licensed, passing the exam, you understand that that's a test. That's an exam. That's to get your foot in the door. It's to get you, of course, your credentials and your authorization. But what happens when the tax law changes? You were examined on the old tax law. The software changes. What happens with the QuickBooks Online that I had to learn to get my degree in the accounting systems class that I took looks nothing like how QuickBooks Online looks now. AI did not exist when I was in school. So there was Allen Iverson. That was AI when I was in college. So when we talk about changes that happen with software, tax law, AI, QuickBooks, things that are changing, what are the skills that you want to work on that will only pay dividends? They're going to compound the benefits to them. So here we're talking about 7 skills that I think accountants should look into. And I'm not going to call them soft skills because I don't like that name. They say it's soft skills and then your hard skills are what? Like the technical side of things. So we're not going to call it soft skills. We're just going to call this the 7 areas I think every accountant should continue developing as your career goes on. So number 1 is communication. Communication, if you can't communicate your ideas, if you can't communicate with clients or communicate your technical skills will only get you so far. And communicating is not just talking. It's listening. It's building that rapport with your client. It's understanding tone and tonality. So it's explaining something that's complicated to your client, but explaining it in a way that your client understands. So if you can't communicate well, you're always going to need someone or something to help bridge that gap for you. You're going to need a partner. You're going to need an assistant. You're going to need somebody or you're going to need to work for somebody that will communicate while you stay and do all the technical work. So the better you get at communication usually makes you a better advisor overall. So that's number 1, communication. Number 2 is sales. Working on your sales skills and is one of the best investments I've ever made in myself. I've taken a few sales trainings, especially in recent years, read books, courses, pay coaches, and I still study it today. I keep working on it because sales is something that just keeps paying off when you learn and get better at it. Sales is not convincing people, it's understanding people. And it's also, of course, asking better questions, which we'll get to later, but it's diagnosing before you prescribe. It's learning how to hear the word no without taking it personally. Sometimes you want to hear people say no, and that's like a mindset shift. So sales is one of those things that they don't really teach you in school, and they for sure won't teach that to you if you're not customer facing or client facing at the firm. So sales is one of those skills that pays and keeps growing, and it helps you in every area of your life. So sales is not just we're selling tax advisory or we're selling tax services. Sales can be everything. So just keep that in mind. Sales won't just help you grow your accounting business. It's going to help you. Communication and sales is going to help you in your overall life, not just in accounting. And again, we're not calling it soft skills. So number 3 is leadership. So leadership is, again, not a part of the CPA exam, right? And nobody hands you a chapter and tells you, here's how you're going to build out your team. Here's how you're going to introduce them to using new technology. And here's how you're going to lead them through changes in your offer and the culture of the clients you're going to be working on. Like, those are things that you have to help your staff and the people that you work with. And whether that's vendors, contractors, or employees. So managing people and leading them are not the same thing. Managing could be seen as task and making sure that tasks get assigned and followed up. Leadership is helping the belief of your team, helping them believe that you guys are going in a direction together forward. And as your career grows as an accountant and as I continue to grow, leadership is becoming more and more important, especially with a growing team. Number 4 is a little bit different, but writing. So just to back up a little bit, when I started really intentionally working on my business and realizing that the latest update of the tax law or taking a CPE on a very specific specific tax strategy was not the unlock that I really needed, I started seeking out I would read books. I would listen to like podcasts, the Growing Your Firm podcast from David Cristello. And I would just listen to other success stories of other accountants. And that led me to reading the book, The Wealthy Accountant by Rob Nixon. And of course, the Time's Up book by Ron Baker, Tax Free Wealth. And these books naturally ignited things in my brain that I'm like, man, these are things I can't just read this and close the book. Like I need to write this down somewhere. This is so good. Reading and then writing has helped me create so much other things. And now there's AI. So it's like, okay, well, I could just write a book with AI right now. I could just say, hey, AI, here's the book, write the chapters. Let's make the book today. But actually physically writing things down on a piece of paper has actually been the start of some of the best AI outputs. So the people at Blue Jay, of course, thanks to Blue Jay, they gave me this nice moleskin. I have a couple of them. And I write down some very specific things in here. Like when I'm in here, I'm not writing down notes from a client call. Like I have Ping Assistant to do that, right? To be my meeting note taker. When I'm in there, I'm actually writing down like my thoughts, things that I want to create, the overall setup. Like you're in deep thought and you're writing it there. So things will start there. And trust me, AI, I'm not bashing AI, but AI, if you start with writing things down as a skill, like developing your writing skill and trying to get better at writing. But if you start with something written, that's literally coming from your brain to the pen and on the piece of paper. You could snap a picture of it, get it into your project, into your chat, into whatever you're working on, and then start messing with the AI and getting it to fix it up and tweak it. And that for me has turned into wonderful presentations, tools, communications with clients, like everything. So AI can definitely help you get things written and faster, but it still needs to be your voice. And that just for me happens when I write things down. My perspective, my experience, how I interpreted things. I still write things down first, sometimes on that legal pad, sometimes in the notes app on my phone, sometimes on that moleskin, and then I bring AI after. So again, these are the skills that I think you will start developing and it'll just pay dividends. It have compounding effects. Number 5 is public speaking. So public speaking for me changed my confidence for sure. And it translates into so many different areas with clients, with work that we're doing, selling to new clients, communicating with the existing clients. So it started small for me. So in 2014, I was a couple years removed from college. I had just finished the CPA exam and I joined the board of directors for a nonprofit organization in Fort Lauderdale. I was born in Fort Lauderdale. We provide affordable housing to the residents in the area where I was literally born. So there would be like these professionals that are in the same boat or they lived there in the past, and we're all advocating for affordable housing for those residents. Now I think there's over 100 people living there, right? And we had board meetings, and just speaking up during those board meetings and seeing how it was run taught me a lot. We would have agendas, discussions, votes, long-term projects and initiatives and collaborations and issues that we had to talk to. So it really taught me how you can actually come up with a way to help someone to a decision. And it was those board meetings. So that experience speaking in groups of 5 or 10 board members, board of directors, actually helped me transition into what I do now. Webinars, speaking in front of thousands of accountants, 9,000 accountants, 3,000 accountants, 2,000 accountants. Those are some ones that I did last year. So conference stages, that's where I'm going to be speaking in front of hundreds of accountants. So the interesting thing is I'm not the best at any of these things. These are skills that you have to keep developing, but they do pay off versus just working on the technical skills all the time. What I've noticed is every time that I have an opportunity to speak in front of a group of people, whether it's 4 people or 4,000 people, it's a skill that gets better, and it gets better and better over time. And it's something you got to work on. It's a different muscle that you're working on, which leads me to number 6. Number 6 skill that you're going to want to have as an accountant that's going to keep paying you and have compounding interest on it. AI is not the answer. Critical thinking is the answer. AI makes this one kind of tied in, right? Critical thinking is a skill that you can develop. The quality of what you get out of AI depends on the quality of your critical thinking. So knowing how to ask your follow-up questions and have good prompts, and knowing when something doesn't look right, and knowing when you should challenge the answer and go deeper, that's where your background in accounting and tax is going to come into play here. So taking what you know in tax and accounting and your client scenario and then applying it to with critical thinking, that's how you're going to get the best out of your AI, because we know it. The accountants that are using AI are going to get better results about accounting or taxes than just somebody just starting fresh out of nowhere, just asking. They wouldn't even know what to ask and how to prompt it. So you're going to be better than your client at asking AI to do stuff. And critical thinking is one of those skills that you want to combine with your expertise. Along with technology, you're going to go far. And number 7 is, I'm not going to take full credit for number 7, but curiosity. So curiosity, one of my favorites. Every sales training or sales coach that I've ever watched or spoke with always tells me, stay curious. Don't jump straight into the solution. Keep asking more questions. It's like you're fighting a fight. You're a boxer. And when you're, playing defense, you're blocking those questions they give you and hitting them back with another one. So it's like, if you want to think of like when you're in a sales call or when you're in any kind of communication, questions are going to be like punches. Like if you want to think of it like that, that's something that sat with me, and it's impacted how I've changed my firm, how I start new client conversations, what I think about, what I focus on. Ask better questions. Ask your AI, follow up. When you're meeting with clients, follow up. Ask questions. Don't just accept what they're saying at the face value. And of course, I don't want to take credit for that, because like literally I was the worst when it comes to that, and still have to work on that skill of not just slowing down, having pauses that land, making sure that when you're having conversations with clients, you dig deeper and you don't just accept when they say that their last accountant was this and that. You say, well, what were you paying them? Were you even paying them for planning? I built 10Key because I wanted something that I just couldn't find anywhere else. As accountants, we carry years of knowledge in our minds, but sometimes what's crystal clear to us isn't so clear to our clients. And that's why I built 10Key. It's the advisory platform built by an accountant for accountants. It's designed for instant advisory. It helps you perform live calculations, create easy to understand visuals, and it brings clarity to complex situations, because the best advisors don't just over explain the numbers. They show them, and they use that to help people make more confident decisions. So if you're ready to level up from compliance to advisory, check out 10Key, named after the 10Key calculator. So in closing, if there's one thing I'd leave you with, invest in skills that appreciate instead of depreciate, because tax laws are going to change. Software and AI is changing. Those are all important, and you should absolutely stay up to date. But communication, sales, leadership, writing, public speaking, critical thinking, curiosity, those skills continue paying dividends for you for the rest of your career and the rest of your life. And the best part is you don't have to master all of them overnight. Just commit to getting a little bit better at each one every year or every day. And looking back at my own career and where I am and where I plan on going, those 7 skills that when I started leaning into them and building those, they paid just as much, if not more, as when I stay tuned to the tax law updates or the updates to, how QuickBooks works. So if you're listening to this and you're an accountant and you like this content, like it, hit the like button, subscribe, share it with another accountant, anybody you think that could get some value out of it. And let me know, which one of these skills do you think is the most important, and which one are you working on the most?